A stray dog with eyes sharp as knives faces a cold-blooded traitor. Can Toro save old man Mateo from a deadly trap? Toro, a shaggy Mexican dog, roams Puebla streets, hearing desperate cries from a locked warehouse. Mateo, keeper of a centuries-old mezcal recipe, is imprisoned by his own grandson, Adrian, who aims to steal the secret and sell it to a massive liquor corporation. A dog no one notices. A legacy under threat. A sinister plot. How will Toro turn the tide? This true story of loyalty will change how you see dogs forever. Leave a comment sharing where you're watching from. Hit like. And subscribe to Huelas y Susurros for more heart-touching tales. In the darkness, Toro halts before a rusted iron door. Ears up. Nose sniffing. A scar on his muzzle tells of survival struggles, but his brown eyes burn with resolve. Mateo's faint voice calls out. Toro slips through a gap, finding the silver-haired man bound. Eyes fierce despite his frailty. He grabs a tortilla scrap from the market, placing it before Mateo. The old man whispers, tears in his eyes. Clara, a young chef, realizes Toro isn't just scavenging. He's saving a life. Do you believe a dog can change everything? Comment now to dive into this journey. Toro, a shaggy Mexican stray dog with dust-matted brown fur, weaves through Puebla's bustling streets. The calls of taco vendors and the rich scent of mole poblano fill the air. A faint scar on Toro's muzzle speaks of days dodging carts and wary glances from market sellers. Once a guard dog at a mezcal distillery on the city's outskirts, Toro was abandoned when the owner went bankrupt, left to roam the stone-paved alleys around Plaza de los Sapos. His sharp brown eyes, like glowing embers, stay ever alert. Tonight, Toro isn't scavenging for food as usual. A faint sound, like a stifled sob, draws him to an old warehouse. Its rusted iron door, locked tight with a chain, has a small gap between rotted planks. Through the gap, Toro hears a trembling voice. Someone please for help. Soft and desperate. Toro pauses. Ears pricked. Nose sniffing. He's no ordinary dog. At the distillery, he learned to sense danger. From the smell of smoke to unfamiliar footsteps, he squeezes through the gap, claws scraping the cold stone floor, and sees an old man, about 70, slumped on a worn wooden chair. Mateo, with disheveled silver hair and eyes clouded by age, looks frail. His hands are loosely tied with rope. His coarse shirt is streaked with dirt, but his gaze holds a spark of resilience. He whispers, his voice hoarse from hunger and thirst. Toro, sensing his pain, steps forward, nutzling Mateo's trembling hand, offering a bit of warmth in the damp, moldy room. Mateo smiles faintly, stroking Toro's head. Outside, at Plaza de los Sapos, Clara, a 28-year-old chef, with her hair tied high and an apron dusted with cornmeal, denser tacos al pastor están. The savory aroma of grilling meat and the sizzle of the coal stove draw tourists and locals alike. Clara, with keen brown eyes and a friendly smile, always notices stray dogs around the market. Toro is a familiar face. She often tosses him a scrap of meat or a tortilla. But today, Clara senses something off. Toro doesn't linger for food. A bolt past, heading toward the warehouse alley. Ears up as if hunting something. Clara murmurs, wiping her hands on her apron, and decides to follow. She navigates past Talavera pottery stalls, dodging curious glances from coworkers, and tracks Toro's paw prints to the dark alley. Near the warehouse, Clara hears heavy footsteps from inside. A young man, about 30, in a black leather jacket. Steps out a side door. Adrian, Matteo's grandson, has a cold face and calculating eyes. He speaks into his phone. His voice low and sharp. The old man won't talk. But his family's mezcal is worth millions. Clara, hiding behind an old wooden crate, feels her heart pound. Mezcal. She knows Puebla's mezcal tradition. Matteo's family is famed for a secret recipe, never sold to outsiders. Toro, from the gap, lets out a low growl. Warning Clara. She meets the dog's eyes. Sensing urgency, Clara whispers, promising to help. Inside the warehouse, the air reeks of kerosene and rotting wood. A battered flashlight on a table casts a weak glow, highlighting cracks in the stone walls. Matteo, exhausted, stays alert. He's the last keeper of his family's unique mezcal recipe, a legacy from his great-grandfather, passed down 3 generations. Adrian, his grandson, once a kind boy, turned greedy, lured by a global liquor corporation's $1 million offer. Matteo mutters, his voice firm. Toro, beside him, grabs a tortilla scrap from the market. Placing it before Matteo, the old man tears it with bound hands. Ismisti. He thanks Toro, calling him his hope. Clara, outside, watches the warehouse. She knows it was once part of Matteo's old distillery, abandoned after Adrian convinced him to sell the land. But why is Matteo here? Tied up. Clara recalls market whispers. Matteo vanished after refusing to sell his mezcal recipe. Adrian claimed he was ill, sent to a Mexico City hospital. But Toro knows the truth. The dog, sensing Clara's gaze, grabs a small paper scrap from the warehouse. An old receipt, scrawled with Matteo's handwriting. Clara clutches it, heart racing. Toro isn't just a stray. He's the key to saving an old man and preserving a legacy. She meets Toro's brown eyes, as if hearing him oge on. Clara takes a deep breath, ready to act. Under the market's dim lights, Puebla becomes the stage for an unexpected fight. Toro leads the charge for justice. What will Toro do next? Comment your guesses. And let's dive deeper into this story. Toro becomes the only light in Matteo's darkness. Each night, the shaggy stray slips through the warehouse's gap, carrying a tortilla scrap, sometimes a stray water bottle from the market. Toro's brown eyes glow fiercely, like a fire that never fades. Watching Matteo, the old man, though weakening, holds a steely spirit. In the flashlight's dim glow, Matteo strokes Toro's matted fur, whispering, "Son, this mezcal recipe isn't just liquor. It's the blood and sweat of our family." His voice, hoarse but steady, tells the tale. The recipe, passed down 3 generations, uses wild agave grown only on Puebla's hills. Each drop of mezcal holds the soul of the land, the stories of farmers. But Adrian, his grandson, changed. Once a boy who followed him through agave fields, he's now greedy, locking Matteo away to steal the recipe, to sell it to a corporation craving mass production, erasing a legacy. Toro, sensing the pain, nuzzles Matteo's hand. He drops a larger tortilla scrap today, placing it before him. Matteo smiles, tearing it with bound hands, eating slowly. "You're my only friend, Toro," he says, eyes glistening. Outside, Clara can't shake the paper Toro brought. Matteo's scrawled words haunt her. She stands at her taco stand, but her mind's at the warehouse. Clara knows Toro isn't acting randomly. The dog's trying to save Matteo. She starts trailing Toro nightly. Watching from afar. Toro appears at dusk. Slipping into the alley. Carrying something for the old man. Clara hides behind an elote's cart. Heart pounding. She sees Toro squeeze through the gap. Swift. Almost trained. One night. Clara spots Adrian. He steps out of the warehouse. Scowling. Talking on his phone. The old man's stubborn. But I'll make him talk. If not. He knows what's coming. Clara chivers. Adrian's voice is void of family ties. She realizes Matteo isn't just trapped. He's in real danger. Clara needs to act. But how can a chef like her challenge Adrian? He has money. Connections. Even local police in his pocket. Toro. From the gap. Growls softly, as Adrian lives. Clara meets the dog's eyes. Feeling like he's saying, "Don't be scared. Human." She whispers. Vowing to find a way. Inside the warehouse. Matteo shares more with Toro. Adrian was once my pride. He says. Voice heavy. When the distillery struggled. He promised to save it. Convinced me to sign papers. But he tricked me. Locked me here. Demanding the recipe. Matteo shakes his head. Eyes firm. I'd rather die than let our legacy fall to greedy hands. Toro. Sensing his resolve. Sits close. His shaggy warmth comforting Matteo. He drags a small water bottle. Scavenged from the market. To Matteo's feet. The old man chuckles. Stroking Toro's head. You're smarter than most people. Little one. Clara. After nights of watching. Resolves to act. She can't let Toro fight alone. One evening. She lingers near the warehouse. Waiting for Toro. The dog appears. Tortilla in mouth. Slipping through the gap. Clara edges closer. Hiding behind a crate. She hears Matteo's faint voice from inside. Thank you. Toro. If I escape. I'll repay you. Clara's heart races. She needs proof. Someone to believe this story. But who'd help a chef against Adrian Toro? Sensing Clara. Drags another paper scrap from the warehouse. Clara grabs it. Reading under a street lamp. Adrian. Corporation. Denja. Clara grips the note. Resolve igniting. She looks at Toro. Whispering. We'll save him. Toro. Together. Clara returns to her taco stand. But her mind isn't on orders. She recalls market tales. Matteo was kind. Helping agave farmers. Sharing distilling secrets. But when Adrian took over. Everything changed. The distillery closed. Land sold off. Now Clara understands. Adrian doesn't just want the recipe. He wants to erase Matteo's legacy for profit. Toro. From the alley. Watches Clara. As if waiting. She strokes his head. Feeling a strange bond. Toro isn't just a stray. He's Puebla's hero. Clara takes a deep breath. Preparing for the next step. She doesn't know what she's up against. But her gut tells her. Toro will lead the way. What will Clara and Toro do to save Matteo? Comment your guesses. And let's uncover this story. Clara's resolve hardens as she clutches Toro's latest note. It's scrawled words, fueling her determination. She can't ignore Matteo's plight anymore. Toro. The shaggy Mexican stray. Becomes her guide. His brown eyes steady as they meet hers outside the warehouse. Each night. The dog slips through the gap. Delivering scraps to Matteo. A silent promise of loyalty. Clara knows she needs help to face Adrian's power. Alone. A chef's word means little against his money and connections. At her taco stand. Clara's hands move mechanically, grilling meat. But her mind races. She recalls tales of Mateo's kindness. How he taught farmers to tend agave, keeping Puebla's mezcal pure. Toro's actions prove Mateo's still alive, fighting to protect that legacy. One morning, Clara heads to the market early, seeking answers. She spots Luis, a grizzled potter in his 50s, shaping talavera tiles at his stall. His hands, rough from clay, craft intricate designs, each telling a story of Puebla's soul. Clara knows Luis worked with Mateo years ago, crafting mezcal bottles for his distillery. She approaches, hesitant, holding Toro's note. Luis, wiping sweat from his brow. Listings as Clara recounts Toro's strange behavior, the warehouse, and Adrian's chilling words. He frowns, eyes narrowing. Mateo's missing. But Adrian said he's in hospital. You're saying he's locked up? Clara nods, showing the note. Luis' face darkens. That recipe isn't just mezcal. It's our heritage. If Adrian sells it, Puebla loses its heart. Luis agrees to help, his loyalty to Mateo outweighing fear of Adrian. He reveals Mateo's recipe uses a rare agave, harvested on a strict traditions. Adrian's corporate buyers want to mass produce, stripping the land bare. Clara and Luis form a plan. They need proof of Adrian's scheme to expose him. Luis suggests checking the old distillery records, possibly hidden in the warehouse. Toro, lingering nearby, seems to approve, his tail flicking. Clara feels a surge of hope. With Luis's knowledge and Toro's instincts, they have a chance. They decide to meet at dusk, using the market's bustle to approach the warehouse unnoticed. That evening, inside the warehouse, Mateo's strength wanes. The damp air chills his bones, but Toro's warmth keeps him grounded. The dog curls beside him, a tortilla scrap at his feet. Mateo whispers, his voice faint but firm. You're braver than most men, Toro. He strokes the dog's fur, recalling how Adrian's greed grew. The boy I raised turned against me, seduced by promises of wealth. Mateo's eyes harden. But I won't let him destroy what we built. Toro nudges his hand, as if urging him to hold on. The dog's loyalty stirs Mateo's fading spirit, a reminder he's not alone. Outside, Adrian's presence grows menacing. He storms into the warehouse, slamming the door. His leather jacket creaks as he looms over Mateo, face twisted with impatience. You're making this harder than it needs to be. Old man, sign the papers. Give me the recipe, or you'll regret it. Mateo meets his gaze, unflinching. You'll get nothing from me, Adrian. This mezcal belongs to Puebla, not your corporate friends. Adrian's fist clenches, but he holds back, muttering, you'll break soon. He leaves, locking the door, unaware of Clara and Luis watching from the shadows. Toro growls softly, sensing danger. Clara whispers to Luis, we need to act fast. Mateo's running out of time. Clara and Luis retreat to a quiet corner of the market, plotting their next move. Luis recalls a hidden ledger Mateo kept, detailing the recipe's ingredients and harvest rituals. If they find it, they can prove the recipe's cultural value, rallying the community against Adrian. Toro, trailing them, seems to understand, his ears pricked. Clara marvels at the dog's intelligence, how he bridges their efforts to Mateo. She strokes his head, murmuring, you're leading us, Toro. Luis nods, his voice gruff. That dog's more loyal than most people. They agree to scout the warehouse tomorrow, using Toro's guidance to avoid Adrian's men. As night falls, Puebla's streets hum with life. Vendors packing up. Musicians strumming guitars. Clara feels the weight of their mission. Adrian's not just a traitor to Mateo. He's betraying their city's soul. Luis shares a story of Mateo gifting him a mezcal bottle. Its smoky taste, a memory of shared labor. That's what we're fighting for, he says. Clara nods, gripping Toro's note. The dog watches them, eyes fierce, as if ready to charge into battle. Clara's heart swells with courage. With Toro and Luis by her side, she believes they can save Mateo and his legacy. Puebla's spirit depends on it. What will Clara, Luis, and Toro face next? Comment your thoughts. And let's keep unraveling this story. Clara and Luis know time is slipping away. Mateo's life hangs by a thread. And Toro's fierce loyalty drives their mission forward. The shaggy Mexican stray, with his dust-matted fur and blazing brown eyes, becomes their beacon. Each night, Toro slips through the warehouse gap, delivering tortilla scraps or water to Mateo. His quiet resolve strengthening the old man. Clara, back at her taco stand, grills meat with practiced hands. But her mind churns with their plan. Luis's words echo. The ledger, hidden in the warehouse, holds the key to proving Mateo's mezcal recipe is Puebla's cultural treasure. With it, they can expose Adrian's betrayal and rally the community. Toro, lingering near Clara's stand, seems to sense her urgency. His ears pricked as if ready to lead. At dusk, Clara and Luis meet in a quiet alley behind Plaza de los Sapos. The market hums with vendors selling Talavera pottery and mole spices, masking their movements. Luis, his potter's hands steady, suggests using a small camera to record Adrian's actions inside the warehouse. Proof of Mateo's captivity could sway the authorities, even those swayed by Adrian's bribes. Clara nods, clutching a tiny device she borrowed from a friend. But getting close is risky. Adrian's hired men patrol the area, their boots echoing in the alleys. Toro, trailing them, moves like a shadow, his low growls guiding Clara and Luis through safer routes. Clara marvels at the dog's instincts, whispering, "You're our eyes, Toro." They reach the warehouse, its rusted iron door looming under dim streetlights. Toro darts to the familiar gap, squeezing through with a tortilla in his mouth. Clara and Luis crouch behind crates, hearts pounding. Inside, Mateo sits slumped, his silver hair catching the flashlight's weak glow. Toro nudges him, dropping the tortilla. Mateo's voice, faint but warm, murmurs, "Thanks." The dog curls beside him. "A loyal sentinel," Clara signals Luis, who nods, ready to plant the camera near the gap. But footsteps interrupt them. Adrian's voice cuts through the night, sharp and angry. On his phone outside, the corporation's impatient. "We need that recipe now, or the deal's off." Clara's blood runs cold. They freeze. Toro's soft growl urging silence. Luis whispers, pointing to a narrow alley beside the warehouse. "Toro's used it before. Dodging Adrian's men." Clara agrees, and they slip into the shadows, following the dog's path. Toro leads with purpose, his paws silent on the cobblestones, weaving through piles of discarded crates. The alley opens to a small, boarded-up window at the warehouse's rear. Luis prees a loose plank, creating a tiny view inside. Clara positions the camera, its lens capturing Mateo's bound figure and Toro's watchful presence. The footage, grainy but clear, shows the old man's frail state and the dog's devotion. Clara's heart aches, But hope sparks. This could be enough to prove Adrian's crime. Inside, Mateo shares a secret with Toro. The ledger isn't in the warehouse. He whispers. His voice barely audible. I hid it in a talavera jar at the old distillery. Buried under the agave field. Only I know where. Toro tilts his head. As if understanding. Mateo strokes the dog's fur. His eyes fierce. Keep it safe. Pequeño. If I don't make it, you'll guide them. Toro nuzzles his hand. A silent vow. The old man's words strengthen his fading spirit. Knowing Toro carries his hope. Outside. Clara and Luis retreat. The camera secured. But danger lingers. One of Adrian's men. A burly figure with a scar across his cheek. Patro's closer. His flashlight sweeping the alley. Toro's growl rumbles. Low and warning. Clara grabs Luis's arm. Pulling him behind a stack of crates. The man pauses. Scanning the shadows. Then moves on. Muttering about stray dogs. Clara exhalis. Stroking Toro's head. You saved us. Boy. Luis. His face grim. Warns her. Adrian's men are tightening their grip. We need that ledger fast. Before they break Mateo. Back at the market. Clara and Luis regroup at Luis' pottery stall. The air smells of clay and spices. Grounding their nerves. Luis sketches a map of the old distillery. Marking the agave field where Mateo might have hidden the jar. Clara studies it. Her resolve firm. Toro sits nearby. Eyes locked on them. As if urging action, Clara realizes the dog's role is bigger than she thought. He's not just delivering food. He's Mateo's lifeline. Their guide. Luis agrees. His voice gruff. That dog's smarter than us. We follow him. We find the truth. Clara feels Puebla's pulse in the market's rhythm. The laughter of vendors. The strumming of guitars. Mateo's mezcal isn't just a recipe. It's the city's soul. Tied to the land and its people. Adrian's betrayal threatens that bond. Clara grips the camera. It's footage, a weapon against him. With Toro leading. She and Luis vow to find the ledger. Free Mateo. And save the legacy. The dog's fierce eyes meet hers. Asil pact fost. Clara whispers. We're in this together. Toro. The fight for Puebla's heart is just beginning. What dangers await Clara? Luis. And Toro, comment your predictions. And let's uncover the next chapter. Clara's pulse quickens as she and Luis hold on to their fragile plan. The tiny camera hidden near the warehouse gap records Mateo's captivity. It's grainy footage, a lifeline to expose Adrian's betrayal. But time presses harder. Toro, the shaggy Mexican stray, remains their guide. His brown eyes fierce with purpose. Each night, he slips through the warehouse gap, delivering tortilla scraps or water to Mateo, whose frail form clings to hope. Clara, back at her taco stand, serves customers with a forced smile. Her mind on the ledger buried in a talavera jar at the old distillery. Luis's map marks the agave field. But reaching it means evading Adrian's tightening net. Toro paces near her stall, sensing the growing threat. His ears twitching at every sound. At the market, Clara notices a shift. Two men in dark jackets, Adrian's hired muscle, linger near the warehouse alley. Their eyes scanning vendors and passers-by. One, the scarred man from before, mutters about a nosy dog causing trouble. Clara's stomach knots. They're on to Toro. She whispers to Luis at his pottery stall. Surrounded by the earthy scent of clay. Adrian's menore closingkin. We need to move now. Luis nods. His grizzled face tense. He warns that Adria's police contacts are asking questions, sniffing out anyone poking into Mateo's disappearance. The ledger's their only shot to prove the mezcal recipe's cultural worth and stop the corporate takeover. Toro growls softly, as if urging haste. That night, Clara and Luis plan to scout the distillery field, hoping Toro can lead them to the jar. They meet in a shadowed corner of Plaza de los Sapos, the market's lively hum masking their whispers. The air carries the scent of grilled, elote, and strummed guitars. But danger l'homme. Toro, moving like a phantom, guides them through back alleys, avoiding the patrolling men. Clara marvels at his stealth, how he pauses at corners, sniffing for threats. They reach the distillery's edge, a sprawling field of spiky agave under a moonlit sky. The old hacienda looms in ruins, its walls cracked, a ghost of Mateo's legacy. Clara clutches Luis's map, searching for clues to the burial spot. Inside the warehouse, Mateo's strength fades. The damp chill seeps into his bones. But Toro's warmth anchors him. The dog curls beside him, a tortilla scrap at his feet. Mateo whispers, his voice a thread. You're keeping me alive, Toro. He strokes the dog's matted fur, recalling the Talavera jar's hiding place, buried under the tallest agave, marked by a red stone. Toro tilts his head, as if memorizing the words. Mateo's eyes glint with defiance. They won't get it, pequeño. You'll make sure. The dog's steady gaze strengthens Mateo's resolve, a flicker of fight in his weary frame. Outside, Teño spikes, Clara and Luis, crouching among the agave, hear a rustle. Toro's ears snap up, his body tense. The scarred man appears, flashlight sweeping the field, muttering about a tip-off. Someone sniffing around. He growls into a radio. Clara's heart races. She grabs Luis, pulling him behind a thick agave plant. Toro, poised to lunge, lets out a low growl. But Clara shushes him, her hand on his fur. The man's beam grazes their hiding spot, then moves on. Clara exhales. But fearlingas. Adria's men are hunting them now. Toros near captura-t-els her. If they catch him, Mateo loses his lifeline. Back at the market, Clara and Luis regroup, shaken but determined. The camera's footage grows riskier to retrieve, with Adria's men patrolling tighter. Luis, shaping clay at his stall, shares a grim thought. Adrian's not just after the recipe. He's erasing Mateo to bury the truth. Clara nods, gripping the map. Toro sits nearby, eyes locked on them. His presence, a quiet command to act. Clara realizes the dog's in as much danger as they are. Adrian's men see him as a pest, a threat to their plan. She strokes Toro's head, murmuring, "We won't let them hurt you, boy." Clara feels Puebla's heartbeat in the market's rhythm. The chatter of vendors, the clink of mezcal glasses. Mateo's recipe isn't just liquor. It's the city's lifeblood, tied to the agave fields and farmers' hands. Adria's greed threatens to rip that away. Clara and Luis vow to find the jar before Adria's men close the noose. Toro's fierce gaze meets hers. Así impacta. They'll risk everything to save Mateo and his legacy. But the scarred man's radio crackles with orders. Check the distillery again. Someone's out there. Clara's resolve steels. The hunt is on, and Toro's leading the charge. What will Clara, Luis, and Toro face in their search? Comment your predictions. And let's dive into the next chapter. Clara's heart pounds as the danger closes in. The camera hidden near the warehouse gap captures Mateo's frail form, but retrieving it grows riskier with Adria's men patrolling Puebla's alleys. Toro, The shaggy Mexican stray remains their anchor, his brown eyes fierce with unwavering loyalty. Each night, he slips through the warehouse gap, delivering tortilla scraps to Mateo, whose whispers of hope keep him alive. Clara and Luis know they must act fast. The Talavera jar, buried under an agave plant at the old distillery, holds the ledger, proving Mateo's mezcal recipe is Puebla's heritage. Without it, Adrian's corporate deal will erase that legacy. Todo pases near Clara's taco stand. Sensing the urgency, his ears twitching at distant footsteps, Clara and Luis decide to seize their chance during Puebla's vibrant market night. When vendors and musicians flood Plaza de los Sapos, the chaos of sizzling elote stands and mariachi strums can mask their move to the warehouse. They meet at dusk, blending into the crowd, the air thick with chili and lime scents. Toro leads, his paws silent on cobblestones, guiding them through back alleys to avoid the scarred man and his partner. Gularas pulsereses, clutching the map of the distillery field. Luis, his potter's hand steady, carries a small shovel for the jar. They plan to free Mateo tonight, using the ledger to expose Adrian later. Toro's low growl signals safety, his instincts sharper than ever. At the warehouse, the rusted iron door looms under flickering streetlights. Toro darts to the gap, squeezing through with a tortilla scrap. Inside, Mateo slumps on his chair, his silver hair catching the flashlight's dim glow. Toro nudges him, dropping the food. Mateo's voice, weak but warm, murmurs, "Thanks." Clara and Luis crouch behind crates, waiting for the man to leave. But a new threat emerges. The scarred man lingers inside, radio crackling with Adrian's voice. "Check the back," he orders, suspecting intruders. Clara's stomach twists. She whispers to Luis, "We go now, or we los Mateo." Toro, sensing the tension, leads them to a hidden route. Luis recalls an old cellar door at the warehouse, used for mezcal deliveries decades ago. It's likely boarded up, but Toro's frequent sniffing there hints at a way in. They creep to the rear, where ivy chokes the stone walls. Toro paus at a rote de plank, revealing a rusted trapdoor. Luis pries it open, hinges groaning softly. A damp tunnel stretches below, smelling of earth and mold. Clara hesitates. Then follows Toro, who's already inside, his shadow flickering in the dark. The tunnel slopes upward, ending at a grate near Mateo's cell. Clara peers through, seeing the old man's bound hands. Toro curled beside him. Her heart aches, but the scarred man's boots echo closer. Luis whispers urgently, "We get him out now." They push the grate aside, its creak masked by market music drifting through. Clara growls him, reaching for Mateo. He startles, eyes wide, but recognizes her from the market. Toro nuzzles them both, as if sealing their trust. Clara antis Mateo's ropes, her fingers trembling. Luis helps lift the old man, whose legs wobble but hold. They retreat to the tunnel, Toro leading, his growls guiding their pace. But as they near the trapdoor, a flashlight beam slices through the dark. The scarred man shouts, spotting the open grate. Clara's heart stops. Luis pulls Mateo faster, but the man's boots thunder behind them. Toro spins, baring teeth, and lunges at a crate stack, toppling it. The crash slows the man, who curses, scrambling over debris. Clara, Luis, and Mateo stumble out the trapdoor into the alley, Toro at their heels. The market night erupts around them, voices and music swallowing their gasps. They weave through the crowd of dancers, Losing the man in the chaos of colorful papel picado and lantern glow, Clara clutches Mateo's arm. His breathing ragged but defiant. Toro stays close, eyes scanning for threats. Luis leads them to a friend's stall, hidden behind stacks of talavera pots. A temporary safe spot. They collapse, hearts racing, but free for now. Mateo, though weak, grips Toro's fur, whispering, "Thanks. You led them to me, pequeño." Clara realizes the jars still at the distillery. Their proof unfinished. Adrian's men will hunt harder now. Knowing Mateo's gone, Luis warns, his voice low, "We've got the man, but not the ledger." Adrian won't stop. Clara nods, meeting Toro's fierce gaze. The dog's courage fuels her own. Puebla's market night pulses with life, its spirit alive in their fight. They must find the jar to end Adrian's greed and save Mateo's legacy. Toro's ready to lead again. What obstacles await Clara, Luis, and Toro next? Comment your thoughts. And let's keep this story unfolding. Clara's breath catches as she, Luis, and Mateo huddle behind the talavera pots at the market stall. Their escape from the warehouse still raw. Toro, the shaggy Mexican stray, stands guard. His brown eyes fierce, ears twitching for danger. The market night pulses around them. Mariachi, music, and laughter, cloaking their whispers. But Adrian's men are closing in. Mateo, frail but défiant, grips Clara's hand. His voice a hoarse murmur. "You saved me." But the fight's not over. The talavera jar, buried in the agave field, holds the ledger, proving his mezcal recipe's cultural value. Without it, Adrian's corporate deal will crush Puebla's heritage. Toro nudges Mateo, as if urging them to move. Clara meets the dog's gaze, feeling his courage fuel her own. They can't stay hidden long. The scarred man's radio crackles nearby, his voice barking orders to seal the alleys. Clara's heart races. Luis, his potter's hand steady, scans the crowd. "We need to reach the distillery field now," he whispers. "The jars are only proof." Clara nods, clutching the map. But Mateo's weakened state slows them. Toro, sensing their urgency, leads the way, weaving through the market's chaos of elote vendors and dancing couples. His paws are silent on cobblestones, guiding them to a quiet street beyond the plaza. The distillery looms ahead, its agave field silver under moonlight. But danger trails close. As they near the field, headlights flare. A black truck roars up. Adrian at the wheel, his face twisted with rage. He leaps out. The scarred man, and another thug at his side. "You thought you could steal him," Adrian snarls, spotting Mateo. Clara's stomach drops. Toro growls, echoes raised, positioning himself between Mateo and the men. Luis steps forward, shielding the old man. But Adrian's cold laugh cuts through. "You're out of your depth. Potter, hand him over, or you all pay." Clara's mind races. They're outnumbered, and Mateo can barely stand. Toro acts first. With a fierce bark, he charges the scarred man, snapping at his legs. The man stumbles, cursing, swinging his flashlight. Clara seizes the moment, grabbing Mateo's arm and pulling him toward the agave field. Luis follows, shoving the second thug aside. They sprint, spiky plants tearing at their clothes. Toro's bucks echoing behind. Adrian shouts orders, his men scrambling after them. Clara's lungs burn, but she focuses on the maps marked the tallest agave, a red stone at its base. Mateo, Gasping. Points to a shadowy cluster ahead. There. He croaks. Toro catches up. Teeth bared. Slowing the pursuers with feints and growls. They reach the agave. Its silhouette towering. Clara drops to her knees. Clawing at the dirt near a red stone. Lucien's hair. His shovel scraping earth. Adrian's voice sneers. Venomous. You won't get it. Toho lunges again. This time at Adrian. Who kicks at him. Missing. The dog's bravery buys seconds. Clara's fingers brush smooth ceramic. She pulls. Unearthing a talavera jar. Its blue and white glaze glinting. Luis grabs it. Cracking the lid to reveal a leather-bound ledger. Pages scrawled with Mateo's handwriting. Clara's heart leaps. They have it. But the victory is short-lived. The scarred man tackles Luis. The jar tumbling. Clara dives for it. Clutching it tight. But Adrian looms over her. His eyes wild. You're done. He hisses. Grabbing her arm. Toro. Snarling. Leaps. Sinking teeth into Adrian's sleeve. He yells. Flailing. Giving Clara a chance to twist free. Luis clambers up. Helping Mateo. Who's swaying, but defiant. Run. He urges. Clara clutches the jar. Sprinting with Luis and Mateo toward the hacienda ruins. Toro, at their heels. Adrian's men pushue. Their boots pounding the earth. The chase spills into Puebla's streets. Market lights fading behind. Clara weaves through alleys. Guided by Toro's swift dashes. The dog finds a narrow path behind a church. Its stone walls hiding them briefly. They collapse. Gasping. The jar safe in Clara's arms. Mateo's eyes shine with pride. You did it. He whispers. Stroking Toro's fur. But Adrian's voice echoes nearby. His men fanning out. Luis warns. His face grim. They won't stop. We need to get this ledger public. Clara nods. Meeting Toro's fierce gaze. The dog's bravery saved them. But the fight's far from over. Puebla's soul hangs in the balance. And Toro's leading the charge. Clara feels the city's heartbeat in the distant market music. The clink of mezcal glasses. Mateo's recipe is more than liquor. It's Puebla's lifeblood. And Adrian's greed threatens to choke it. With the ledger in hand, they have a weapon. But they're hunted now. Toro's eyes burn with resolve. A silent vow to protect them. Clara whispers. We're not done. Boy. The battle for justice rages on. What will Clara, Luis, and Toro face next in their fight? Comment your predictions. And let's uncover the next chapter. Clara's grip on the talavera jar tightens as she, Luis, and Mateo huddle behind the church's stone walls. Their breaths shallow in Puebla's shadowed alleys. Toro, the shaggy Mexican stray, stands vigilant. His brown eyes scanning for Adrian's men. Whose boots echo closer. The ledger inside the jar. Scrawled with Mateo's mezcal recipe and its sacred traditions. Is there proof to stop Adrian's corporate takeover? But they're fugitives now. Hunted through the city's heart. Mateo, frail, but resolute, leans on Luis. His voice a whisper. You have the truth now. Get it to the people. Toro nudges him. As if reinforcing the old man's will. Clara meets the dog's fierce gaze. Her resolve steeled by his unwavering loyalty. The market night's music fades. But its energy lingers. Masking their escape. Clara knows they can't stay hidden long. Adrian's scarred thug and his partner comb the streets. Radios crackling with orders. Luis, his potter's hand steady, suggests a bold move. My friend Rosa runs a tamale stall in the market. She knows reporters. Honest ones. We get the ledger to them. Adrian's done. Clara nods. Clutching the jar. Toro leads. Slipping through alleys. His paws silent on cobblestones. They weave past shuttered shops. The scent of chili and lime lingering. Puebla's pulse urging them on. The dog pauses at corners. Sniffing foteña? Guiding them to the market's edge. They reach Rosa's stall. Tucked behind stacks of steaming tamale baskets. Rosa. A stout woman in her 40s with warm eyes. Gasps at Mateo's file stated. She ushers them into a cramped storage tent. Hiding them among corn husks and clay pots. Toro curves beside Mateo. Growling softly at any noise. Clara shows Rosa the ledger. Explaining Adrian's betrayal. Rosa's face hardens. Mateo's mezcal is our pride. I'll call Javier. A reporter who owes me. He'll blow this open. She steps out. Phone in humped. While Clara and Luis tend to Mateo. The old man sips water. His eyes fierce. The recipe's safe. Thanks to Toro. He murmurs. Stroking the dog's fur. Inside the tent. Mateo reveals more. The ledger lists every farmer who grew our agave. Every ritual we followed. It proves the mezcal's ours. Not some corporations. Clara's heart sues. The ledger isn't just proof. It's a testament to Puebla's soul. Toro tilts his head. As if understanding. His warmth anchoring Mateo. Luis. Checking the tent's flap. Warns. We're not safe yet. Adrian's men are everywhere. Clara nods. Her mind racing. Javier must act fast. Or the ledger's worthless if they're caught. Toro's ears prick. Sensing a threat. Clara peers out. Spotting the scarred man questioning vendors nearby. Her stomach twists. They're too close. Rosa returns. Elle voice urgent. Javier's coming. But we need to move you. The market's too hot. She offers her cousin's farm outside Puebla. A safe spot to hide. Clara agrees. But getting there means crossing the city with Adrian's men on their trail. Toro leads again. Guiding them through a maze of backstreets. Past murals of agave fields and mezcal bottles. They reach a quiet plaza. Where Rosa's cousin, Miguel, waits with a battered truck. He nods at Mateo. His face grim. Let's go. Old friend. They pile in. Toro leaping into the bed. Eyes scanning the road. The truck rumbles off. Market lights faring behind. But danger strikes. Headlights flare in the rearview. Adrian's black truck roars up. The scarred man leaning out. Shouting. Pull over. Or you're dead. Clara's heart pounds. Miguel floors it. The truck lurching on dirt roads. Toro barks. Fierce. His growls a battle cry. Luis clutches the jar. Shielding Mateo. Adrian's struck rams them. Metal screeching. Clara braces. Fear spiking. But Toro's courage steadies here. Miguel swerves into a cornfield. Stalks snapping. Losing Adrian in the mouse. They emerge at the farm. A humble adobe house nestled among agave. Miguel bolts the gate. Bunting. You're safe. For now. At the farm. Mateo rests. His breathing steadier. Clara opens the ledger. Its page detailing agave harvests. Farmer names. And sacred rituals. She feels Puebla's heartbeat in every word. Rosa calls. Confirming Javier's on his way with a news crew. The ledger's truth will hit the airwaves soon. Toro curves beside Mateo. Eyes fierce. As if guarding their victory. Clara whispers. You got us here. Boy. But Adrian's men won't stop. Luis nods. His voice low. We've got the proof. But they'll fight dirty. Puebla's market hums in Clara's memory. Its spirit alive in their struggle. The battle for Mateo's legacy rages on. With Toro leading the charge, what will Clara, Luis, and Toro face as the truth spreads? Comment your predictions. And let's dive into the next chapter. Clara's heart races as dawn breaks over the farm. Its adobe walls shielding her. Luis, Mateo, and Toro from Adria's relentless hunt. The Talavera jar sits on a wooden table. Il est open. Pages scrawled with Mateo's handwriting. A testament to Puebla's mezcal heritage. Toro, the shaggy Mexican stray, leaps beside Mateo. His brown eyes fierce, guarding the old man's frail form. The reporter, Javier, is on his way with a news crew, ready to broadcast the ledger's truth and expose Adrian's betrayal. Clara feels Puebla's pulse in the morning air. The scent of agave and earth grounding her. But d'Angelums. Adrian's men, led by the scarred thug, are scouring the city. Their radios crackling with threats. Toro's ears twitch, sensing the storm brewing. Javier arrive. A wiry man in his 30s with sharp eyes and a battered notebook. He scans the ledger, his jaw tightening. This is gold, he says, flipping through pages of agave rituals and farmer names. It proves Mateo's mezcal belongs to Puebla, not some corporation. Clara explains Adrian's esquema, how he imprisoned Mateo to steal the recipe. Javier notes, setting up his camera. We'll air this tonight. Prime time. Mateo, propped on a cot, speaks softly, his voice steady despite weakness. Tell them it's for the farmers, the land. Toro nuzzles him, as if affirming his words. Luis, his potter's hands clenched, warns, Adrian won't sit quiet. He'll come for us. Clara's fear spikes. But Toro's fear steadies here. They move fast, filming Mateo's testimony in the farm's courtyard. Agave fields stretching behind. His words, raw and powerful, detail the mezcal's sacred roots. Adrian's grit, and Toro's loyalty. The dog sits beside him, a silent hero, his fur catching the morning light. Javier's crew captures every moment, their urgency matching Clara's. As they wrap, a distant rumble chills them. Dust rises on the horizon. Adrian's black truck speeds toward the farm, flanked by two others. Clara's stomach drops. They found us. Luis grabs the jar, shoving it into Clara's arms. Get Mateo out, he shouts. Javier and his crew scramble to their van, vowing to air the footage no matter what. Clara and Luis lift Mateo, rushing to Miguel's truck. Dodo barks, fierce, darting to block the gate. Adrian leaps from his truck, face twisted with rage. The scarred man and thugs at his side. You can't run forever, he roars, brandishing a crowbar. Clara's heart bounds. But Toro lunges, snapping at the scarred man's legs, slowing their advance. Miguel floors the truck, crashing through a side fence. Agave snapping under tires. Adrian's men pushue, their engines roaring. The chase tears through Puebla's outskirts, dust choking the air. Clara clutches the jar, Mateo's labored breaths beside her. Luis shouts directions, guiding Miguel through backroads. Toro, in the truck bed, barks defiantly, his growls a rallying cry. Adrian's trucks gain, ramming them. Clara braces, fear surging. But Toro's courage holds her firm. Miguel swerves into a crowded market street. Vendors scattering. Tamale stands toppling, de Caos Los Adrián. His truck stuck behind carts, Miguel Escapes. Reaching a safe house in Puebla's heart. A small cantina run by Rosa's family. They collapse inside. Bolting the door. Market noise masking their gasps. Rosa greets them. Her face grim but hopeful. Javier's footage is ready. She says. Hunjin Clara Afoni. The news airs live. Mateo's voice echoing through Puebla. He speaks of agave. Farmers. And Toro's bravery. The ledger's pages shown to millions. Adrian's betrayalis late bare. Clara's eyes sting with tears. Seeing market crowds gather around screens. Kiring Mateo's name. Federal police. Tipped by Javier. Read Adrian's hideout. The scarred man and thugs are cuffed. Adrian's face ashen as he's led away. The corporate deal collapses. Puebla's mezcal saved. Toro nudges Clara. His warmth, a quiet victory. Mateo. Stronger now. Reunites with his daughter. Elena. Who rushes to the cantina. Tears streaming. She embraces her father. Thanking Clara. Luis. And Toro. The dog wags his tail. Eyes bright. As if knowing his work is done. The community rallies. Vowing to protect the recipe. Farmers chanting Mateo's name. Clara feels Puebla's soul in their voices. The clink of mezcal glasses raised in honor. Luis smiles. His gruff voice soft. We did it. Thanks to Toro. The dog's loyalty sparked a fire no greed could extinguish. What legacy will Clara, Luis, and Toro build next? Comment your thoughts. And let's keep this story alive. Clara stands in the heart of Puebla's market. The air rich with the scent of grilled elotes and the clink of mezcal glasses raised in celebration. The talavera jar, now safe, sits on a table at Rosa's tamale stall. Its ledger, a symbol of victory. Mateo, his silver hair catching the sunlight, leans on a cane. His frail form strengthened by the community's embrace. Toro, the shaggy Mexican stray, rests at his feet. Brown eyes gleaming with quiet pride. Adrian's Orest. Broadcast alongside Mateo's testimony. Shattered the corporate plot to steal Puebla's mezcal legacy. The ledger's pages. Detailing sacred agave rituals and farmer names. Sparked a movement to protect the recipe forever. Clara feels Puebla's soul in the crowd's cheers. Their voices honoring Mateo and Toro. The old man's distillery reopens. Its agave fields thriving under farmer hands. Mateo, with Elena by his side, trains a new generation. Teaching the mezcal's ancient craft. Clara, no longer just a chef, joins them. Her tacos, al pastor, stand now, a hub for community talks about preserving heritage. Luis, his potter's hands shaping talavera bottles for the mezcal, grins at market gatherings, telling Toro's tale to wide-eyed children. The dog, once a forgotten stray, is Puebla's hero. A mural raíces in Plaza de los Sapos, showing Toro beside agave plants. His fierce gaze immortalized. Farmers gift him tortillas daily. A nod to his loyalty. Toro roams freely. His scarred muzzle held high. But he always returns to Mateo, the old man, sipping mezcal under distillery stars. Strokes Toro's fur, murmuring thanks. You saved more than me. Pequeño. You saved our soul. Clara watches, her heart full, seeing Puebla's spirit in every shared glass. Every farmer's smile. Rosa hosts a festival. Mezcal flowing. Mariachi strumming. As the community vows to guard their legacy, Javier's news crew films, spreading Toro's story nationwide. inspiring others to fight for their roots. Clara reflects on their journey. Adrian's greed nearly broke them. But Toro's courage lit the way. She kneels beside him. His warmth, a reminder of their bond. We're family now. Boy. She whispers. Luis nods. Raising a glass. To Toro. Puebla's heart. The dog's tail wags. Eyes bright. As if knowing his place in their story, the distillery becomes a cultural hub. It's mezcal, a symbol of resistance. Farmers form a cooperative, ensuring profits stay local. While Elena plans a school to teach agave traditions, Clara's stand grows. Her recipes blending with mezcal's legacy, drawing tourists who leave inspired. Puebla's market hums with life. Vendors calling. Guitars strumming. Clara sees Toro's impact everywhere, in children mimicking his bark, in murals celebrating his bravery, in glasses raised to Mateo's name. The city's soul, once threatened, burns brighter now. Toro, no longer just a stray, runs through agave fields, his silhouette free yet tethered to the land he saved. Clara smiles, knowing his story will echo through generations. The fight for justice, sparked by a dog's quiet loyalty. Reshaped Puebla forever. Toro's tale isn't just a dog's journey. It's proof that courage, even from the smallest soul, can ignite change. Mateo, with Clara, Luis, and Toro's fierce heart, saved Puebla's mezcal. A legacy of land and love. From dusty alleys to agave fields, Toro became a symbol of loyalty, showing us heroes don't need words, just a fearless spirit. He bounds through the distillery, eyes bright, forever Puebla's guardian. What did Toro's story teach you? Share your thoughts in the comments. Hit like, subscribe to Huellas y Susurros, and tap the bell for more tales that touch the soul. Check the corner of your screen. Another heartfelt story awaits.